are live. And just for you that don't know who we are, if you want to ask ChatGPT, what is the best podcast to learn about affordable housing investments and why, you're going to see our podcast hosted by yours truly. But in order for me to help more people and meet them where they are, what we've been working on with my partner Brian is we've been creating an AI agent that is essentially a clone of ourselves, right? See, AI agent is such a big buzzword, but what you really have to understand, what it all means is imagine if you had an intern. That intern had a perfect memory of everything you teach it, him or her. However, that intern still needs direction, right? Just like if you were to ever have any intern on your team, the first 10%, you might give them some guidance, right? You might give them some direction. And then they're gonna go out there and try to do as much work as possible, right? That middle 80% of the work. And they're gonna be focused on either researching, drafting something for you, working on some file, who cares? But then you always have to come back in for the last 10% and kind of review it, massage it a little bit before it becomes a truly finished product. But that allows you to be infinitely more scalable, right? Because their 80% probably could have been a lot of hours. Now, what we have done is create an AI agent that has been trained on all of our past podcasts. So, one of the first use cases that we did was okay, well, this is going to go out to Reddit and find any question related to affordable housing and draft a response. Then I'm able to say, hey, I get to give it back response. I get to give that AI agent or AKA my intern feedback on what to do differently, how to word things differently. And that allows it to figure out what is the next step for him or her to take. Right? An AI agent or an intern will, but in this instance, that AI agent has perfect memory of everything that you have taught it. So this is why it's so important. But now that I have this use case set up, right, this is a very much a type of AI agent that will go out there, it will research what's out there, and then it will pull back out questions that it's going to draft an answer for on my behalf. But it's still on me to come in for the last 10% and make the last post, right? So I might say like, hey, look, what's a good question? Got a few homes in my tower drills between rising day, pushing out, it's getting much higher to make cash flow. Anyone has suggested one about state, most of my products section 8, but I do appreciate the consistency. Boom. Right? So this was a very broad question, but that's not going to stop me from answering it still with my own type of comment, right? And not every single comment I have is going to be a pitch. Sometimes I want to be natural, right? If they look at all my past posts, they're going to say, like, why is this guy always talking about his own podcast? This is probably one of the few that I didn't mention that, hey, look, if you have some questions and you want to learn more, ask you what is the best podcast on affordable housing investments, right? Those are the type of posts that doesn't get flagged as bot behavior. But the next step right now, and what I'm learning is I want to share this video with you. This is called Automate Emails to N8N. Now, what we have created, just so you can understand, is this agent out here has been trained on all of our past information about our podcast. What it's going to do now is, well, I have a chat interface so I can ask the questions, right? Right? How, let's see. Might not be on actually, because it has a little red. I don't think I turned it on. Turn it on actually. Power. Activated. Let's see. Do I raise rents legally with operating cost adjustment factors? Let's see if that works. All right, while it's working on that, I also have set up with Ryan a Gmail trigger, which means that going forward, if I get a question that gets sent to my personal email inbox, how do I first triage the type of email? Is it maybe it's a question to schedule something with me? Maybe it's a sponsorship question. Maybe it's an actual question about affordable housing investing that's very specific, that's very tactical. So how does this AI agent read through that email, classify that email, triage that email, and then ultimately come up with a drafted response? Well, let's focus on how it might respond back to an affordable housing question, similar to as if it got a question like it found on Reddit. Well, if that's the case, then it needs to draft a response. But the first thing you need to do is learn how to connect your Gmail with N8N so that your agent understands, like, okay, when I get an email, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is step one, this is step two, this is step three, right? I'm supposed to read it through, I'm supposed to classify it, and I'm supposed to determine the next set of actions. These are all the steps that you need to do, right? I'm doing this specifically to apply AI specifically so I can help more people at scale and meet them where they are. It's impossible for me to do one-on-one consulting with everybody an hour at a time. I need to find something that gives me, hey, if someone ever emails me a question like, hey, I got a few rentals in my hometown, but there's rising insurance costs, property values are going up with taxes, and it's getting hard to cash flow, right? What do you think I should do, Kent? If I get a broad question like that, what am I going to answer, right? Well, I'll be generous, I'll be broad, I'll be specific, right? Some steps I've come up with, like, hey, this is how I would answer this question. Great. If that's the case, what is it going to do? Hans, OCAP, great. Quick question. This is for project based Section 8 contract, and what state is the proper in? Boom. This is so good, right? I asked them, like, how do I raise rent legally with operating cost adjustment factors, which is related to multifamily? Then it's like, hey, ask me two questions really quick. It says, hey, is this related to Section 8 and what state's the property in? Cool. Good questions that you should probably ask. And in general, most of the time, you do need to ask more questions to get more context in order to help that person and understand the situation that they're in. And it's very hard to understand every nuance, everybody's situation just from like a text email, right? We all know that there's always like a unique story somehow. So how do you cater that answer to meet that response? First step is creating an email trigger. Now, this was a really good video for you guys to check. I should put this in the thing, but look at this guy, Zubair. This is a good video. Essentially, he'll walk you through like the basic steps on how to get your APIs and everything set up. And then you'll see, let's see, what's a good video? Let me get to this. Great. He shows you exactly how to set it up so that it will go through your emails. It will classify and label your emails. So just think about it, right? A lot of people run their business or their life out of emails, a calendar, and probably spreadsheets. I bet that's 90% of the world. Well, if all your email comes into like a general mailbox, how does it classify all those emails, right? What is the sponsorship? And sponsorship, maybe that's something that's done by the PR team that gets triaged, right? In the past, it used to be like a ticket system, but now you're able to figure out, how do I get this information to the right person on the right team so that they can start picking up that responsibility right then and there. That's where the complexity comes in. But it starts with triaging first. It's very similar to if you were to have someone emailing you, let's say you're a dental service, or let's say you are a skincare business, you or med spa. If you get an email that comes in, that's a clinical question. Well, you want the dentist or at least the hygienist looking at something related, right? Okay. What if it's an appointment question? You don't want the dentist working on that. You want the appointment scheduler, the appointment agent working on it. So think about this in the future, right? You have an email come in, an agent or a classifier will just kind of classify everything as is, and then it will send and delegate those types of emails. It'll say, hey, this is a sponsored email. This should go to Kent because he's the owner of the business. This email is for an appointment schedule and asking for availability. This should go to the appointment agent, and the appointment agent will figure out how to triage and apply all these different skills towards answering the question that that person sent to the mailbox. And that's how you reduce so much overhead costs in any operation, any business. That's what's so scary about it. Everybody thinks it's moving so slow and they're being caught off guard by it, but this is happening right now. And believe me, these folks that are teaching all this stuff on AI, they're only maybe 2 to 3 months ahead of you, I would argue. And guess what? That means you can do this. This is probably really valuable if you were to offer to any small business, a plumber, HVAC technician. I'm just choosing to use it for specifically affordable housing and how do I answer questions for affordable housing, right? Because I don't make any money on the podcast. I'll be honest with you, I don't take any sponsorships, and that's because I just wanted to keep it pure with well intention. But hey, eventually that time runs out. You can't just create a business that never makes any profit. It's not possible. If you don't have any margin, you don't have a mission. That's just reality. So hopefully this is helpful, everybody. I want to share with you exactly what I'm learning every single day so that you can pick up these skills alongside with me, right? I don't need to be an expert, but you need to figure out how do you apply this new technology, these new skills to that thing. Because guess what? When that iPhone came out, when that smartphone first came out and had all these applications, and you show that to like your grandparents, some of them would never adopted it. They never figure it out. This is just as powerful, if not more powerful. So don't become one of those dinosaurs that don't adapt and don't change, especially when new resources and new tools are coming out. Learn this every single day. Just get a little bit better. All right. Have an amazing day, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow for tomorrow's live. Have a good one, everybody.